I'm 70 years old, and yesterday, the doctor looked me in the eyes and said, "You have cancer." For a moment, I didn't hear anything else. Not because I didn't understand, but because I realized something terrifying. My whole life, I had been living like I had unlimited time, and suddenly, time was the only thing I didn't have. My name is Richard. I'm not famous. I'm not rich. I'm just an ordinary man who spent his entire life trying to be responsible, working, saving, planning, and waiting for the perfect moment to finally live. But at 70, I learned a truth that still hurts to say out loud. Sometimes, the perfect moment never comes. I grew up in a small town. My father was a tough man. He believed emotions were weakness. He never hugged me, never told me he was proud. But he worked hard, every day, and I promised myself I would become a better man, a better husband, a better father. So when I got married at 25, I made a vow. I told my wife, Susan, "One day I'll give you the life you deserve," and I meant it. I truly did. I worked 6 days a week, sometimes 7. I missed birthdays. I missed vacations. I missed family dinners. But I always told myself, it's okay. I'm doing this for them. Susan would sit at the dinner table alone sometimes. The food would get cold, and when I walked in late, she would smile, but her eyes looked tired. One day she said, "Richard, I don't want money. I want you." And I laughed, not because it was funny, but because I didn't understand. I said, "Don't worry, when I retire, we'll have all the time in the world." That sentence was the biggest lie I ever told. At 68, I started feeling weak, tired all the time. I lost weight, but I ignored it. I said, "I'm just getting old." Susan begged me to see a doctor, but I kept saying, "Next week." Next week became next month. Next month became next year. And then, one morning, I woke up coughing blood. That's when fear finally entered my body. Real fear. The kind you can't ignore. The hospital smelled like chemicals and silence. Susan held my hand. Her grip was tight, like she already knew something was wrong. The doctor walked in with a folder. He didn't smile. He didn't take his time. He just said, "Mr. Richard, it's cancer." The room felt like it collapsed. Susan started crying instantly. I didn't. I just stared at the wall, because my mind was replaying my whole life like a movie. Every missed dinner. I had built a life, but I forgot to live in it. I had been so busy trying to provide that I forgot to love. I forgot to laugh. I forgot to be present. And the worst part, I didn't even know if I still had time to fix it. The next morning, I walked into the kitchen. Susan was making coffee. Her eyes were swollen from crying. She looked at me like she was afraid. Afraid of losing me. Afraid of the future. Afraid of being alone. And I made a decision. A decision I should have made 30 years ago. I walked up to her, and I hugged her. Not a quick hug. Not a polite hug. A real hug. The kind that says, "I'm here. I'm sorry. I love you." She broke down in my arms. And I whispered, "Susan, I don't care about the money anymore." She looked up at me and said, "What are you saying?" I said, I'm done waiting. I'm done waiting. I'm done postponing life. Then I said something I never thought I would say. I'm quitting my job today. She gasped. She said, Richard, are you crazy? And I replied, no, I'm finally awake. I called my boss. He thought I was joking. I told him, I don't know how much time I have left, but I refuse to spend it in an office. That week, Susan and I took a drive to the ocean. We sat in the car holding hands, watching the waves, and for the first time in years, I felt peace. Not because my life was perfect, but because I was finally living. I started calling my children. I apologized, not for being a bad father, but for being an absent one. And you know what? My son cried. My daughter cried. And for the first time, I realized they weren't angry. They were just waiting for me to come back. Now listen, I'm not telling you this story for sympathy. I'm telling you because if you're watching this, you might be doing what I did, working too hard, ignoring your health, ignoring your family, thinking you'll fix everything later. But later is not guaranteed. Tomorrow is not promised. And one day, life will force you to stop, either with illness or regret or death. And by then, it might be too late. I still have cancer. I still don't know what the future holds. But I do know this. I will not die with unfinished love. I will not die without saying what I should have said years ago. And if I survive, I will spend the rest of my life doing the one thing I forgot to do, living. Because life is short. And the truth is, some lessons should be learned before it ends. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to Before It Ends, because the next story might change your life.